So clearly, marketing exists to support and actually drive the business goals, right? Marketing is not whistles and just the whistles and some confetti around, that if a business has time and money for that they do marketing. Sometimes, right, we can hear like, but we don't have now time or money for marketing. Well, that's probably not the right mindset. So definitely marketing and the marketing strategy is done to basically drive the business goals. If these two are not aligned, clearly that's why sometimes the leadership teams don't support marketing, because they just don't see the results. And we as the marketers, if some of you are also marketers, right, that's our role to explain, to guide and show the ROI for the marketing, even though it's sometimes hard. So that's maybe just number one insight, not to forget this. So that's maybe also the answer to one of your questions, what can be marketing goals? So first of all, on the high level, it should be basically all driven by the business goal, right? It all needs to be aligned, but then we can have a look later on the marketing goals. Now, what is the difference between overall marketing strategy and digital marketing strategy? So marketing strategy in general, it includes both offline activities and online or digital, as we say. COVID, of course, changed the situation for all the businesses that now we are in. But originally, this is what it could look like before COVID, right? Like there was no overall marketing strategy with a lot of advertising, especially for the big companies, right? Like billboards, or if the commercial companies, right? The B2C companies had ads on TV, radio, right? This was a traditional marketing. And then there was some companies had small digital components, some more progressive companies had a bigger digital component in it. But the overall message here is that this needs to be one, right? That's why it's in one circle, because it needs to be one. We cannot have two strategies, one for offline, one for digital. It needs to be one. Otherwise, the customer is confused when we do something offline and other things online. And also, so it doesn't serve them and doesn't serve us. It's just the disconnected activities that don't really make impact. So it's one. And where we are now after COVID, well, currently this is the case, right? The marketing strategy is mostly, if not 100%, still digital, right? I mean, it depends on the industry and so on, but basically we are more in this situation than in the previous one. And we know that this may stay even after the COVID restrictions really lift up more. This may just stay with some industries and some companies like this. Also because they actually will like it, but also because the customer behavior has already changed so much and be used to the digital way of communication with our companies that there may not be the way back. Third point would be, so why do we need a strategy? Why cannot we just try this and that in marketing and see what works? So strategy may also sound like it's something noble, something that we need to have a lot of time for, and it's just something that it takes a long time. But strategy nowadays is really a very practical thing. I mean, in the end, having a strategy in general, right, saves us time, our energy, and the budget. And overall, or most of all, it gives us a direction. Like we feel confident that when we have a strategy, because a strategy is built based on something, right? We do look deeper into our situation and we make some conclusions. And it gives us a direction. Yes, like we are going here. It's not that we use the channel for 6 months, then we jump to another, doesn't work, we jump to this. No, we have a direction that this is the strategy for, I don't know, next 6 months. It still will change even during that time, because just like that's how all digital channels change quickly nowadays, and also customers' expectations change very quickly. So it will be still flexible strategy, but at least there is certain direction and we will know when to go left or right. And the last point I would like to highlight is that, and this is really mindset shift, and still even progressive startups, it's really hard to be in this mindset that customers are in control. Why? Because before we just put ads on people, right? This is our product, it's the best. We were nearly the only source of information. What is the truth? What we do with our products and what they deliver. But right now we can put ads here and there, but the customer, let's say they see our product in an ad, they go Google it, they Google alternative solution competition, and they will decide who fits them best, because they have a lot of information online about the type of products that we deliver. And it's there. That's why it's really important to understand it. That's why only ads never work right now. That's why it's the customer. We need to have the customer choose, and we need to make our best to be the choice of the customer. However, it really needs to be a right, genuine fit. That's the only way to a sustainable business. And I think this is a really exciting times right now, because it's basically really high value that the customer gets, right? Because they really get the right product for them easily, more easily than before. And for the business, it's also great, because I think all the people that work in the business, no matter if it's a startup or even a bigger organization, like we feel more fulfilled that it makes sense what we do. And in the end, it definitely brings and grows the business. So this is the last point, that not to forget, companies are not in control. We can just make the best we can, and that's why we can influence it a lot. But it's value driven to the customer. And you can see as a customer and user of various social media, digital channels, that these channels change all the time. You know, like all the social media, right? It's very competitive, right? Facebook, LinkedIn, right? They compete with each other. They need to survive and stay relevant. And so they change all the time. They copy each other. They want to keep pace with the customer preferences. And they are really changing every week. And so that's the element. We need to keep the learning focus, right? Like we are always learning in our business, in the marketing space. And I think it's clear that it's not only in marketing. So that would be the intro, just to have a bit of context. What are the expectations for our marketing activities and strategy? And let's just go for an example. So I would take as the main example, B2B example, Sana Search. Anybody knows them? Please shout. Anybody knows Sana Search? Okay, I see Anna. Okay, anybody else? Okay, I see some chat. Okay, Maya, no. Okay, no worries. Okay, so most of you don't. No worries. I just want to give you a real example where we can demonstrate some things. So this is a startup from Zurich. Catherine Lanner was a co-founder in 2014-15. So it's around 6 years ago when it started. And, this is an example, a very typical nowadays for startups, is an online marketplace. What is an online marketplace? Online marketplace is a platform that connects buyers and sellers, right? So it's like Uber, it's Airbnb, right? Upwork, if you know, for a freelancer, hiring freelancer network platform, and so on, right? So in this case, Sana Search connects therapists, right? You can see it here in German, Therapeuten, and clearly the customers, right, for therapy. Now, therapist is here used for also like nutritionists, mental well-being. It's a bit broader area. And here, what we will go through is the building of digital marketing strategy. Okay, like what are the main elements? So let's have a look. So first of all, the first main element is what big pain is this startup solving? So if we have a look, and I'll go back and let me write this also in chat, or you can just go there. If you go to Sana search, if you can, you can also translate it with Google Translator in English if you want. I will just do it because our sessions are in English. Okay, so I think it's translating. Is it? Translate this page, yeah. So now it's in English. And what do you think, what it could be the pain? So do you have any tips when you are looking at it? You can browse it a bit. What do you think is the pain and for who? So now, okay, we are already in the discussion part. Feel free to shout. There is no wrong answer. Just, what's your feeling? What do you think is the big pain that this platform is solving? So either for the therapists or for the customers, the potential patients, we can say. Okay. Anyone? Okay, so the big pain here, and if I go to for therapist section, and I'll again translate the page so that you see it as well. Right here, do you see the big pain? Can you read it, please? It's written there as one of the titles. So it's more visibility for therapists. Yes, exactly, Maya. Yeah, thank you. So this is the big pain Sana Search is solving for them, and this is also a common goal for the online marketplaces, that they give often also the visibility. Right, so the therapists, they usually don't know how to actually be visible. Right, this is the digital marketing actually part for them, and so Sana Search is giving them this platform where they can list their business and they can pay. They have various plans, pricings, and that's the package that they can take regarding their visibility. So that's the pain for therapists. Now, is this all? Is this enough for an online marketplace to solve this pain? No. When we have two parties, sellers and buyers, we always need to solve a big pain for the buyers, in this case for the customers, patients as well. Otherwise, the platform will never be successful. If we are solving only a big pain, right, and I call it big pain, not the pain point, big pain, like it needs to be significantly big pain that the therapists do commit and use the platform. And so clearly the online presence is a big pain for them. But what about the customers? What could be the big pain for them? So probably hard to find the right therapist, nutritionist, mental well-being, right? I mean, they can probably Google search something, or they can go in their neighborhood and see maybe something, but probably they don't want to go to any, right? They want to go to a good one. And I think you can relate to this, right? If it's a service, you don't want to go to anybody. You want to go to somebody that you can trust, who can deliver the service well. And so there would be also this big pain for the customers as well. So looks good. And of course, with this big pain, we need to go as a company deeper. This is not enough, right? We need to understand this inside out. Why is the big pain? What exactly they need? Both, not one of them. Not one of them because one would be paying. Sometimes it's the buyer. We make the business model that the buyer's paying. Sometimes it's the customer paying, right? Doesn't matter which one it is now. But we need to understand both. So one common best practice or mistake in this case is that so in startups, the thinking is that, okay, so we want these to pay, so we fully focus on them, And, let's say in this case, is therapists, right? So we just focus totally on them, and we just leave out the customers, like they will come, they will come. And so this is a big, big mistake, because we need both on the platform, not just one. So even if it's for free, they are customers, or that's at least how I look at it, because then it gets in your mind, both are important, even though only one party is paying. So I find this very important. This is not specific to digital. This is, some of the elements will be common for marketing, overall strategy, and digital only. But I am mentioning it because this is really crucial for digital marketing to work. If this is not figured out, if this is not explored enough, you can have like the best digital marketing strategy kind of on paper, but it will just not work. It will be slow, it will not be effective. I will pause here. Would you have any comments? Do you want to share from your side, or a question? Anyone? It's good? Okay, so let's go on. So the second would be, a second core element is a best customer. And I say best customer, not ideal customer, deliberately, because ideal customer is a bit misleading in the sense that we define who is ideal for us. It means, like, often, we want to target the big companies, right? Because they have a budget, or it's just, it sounds more lucrative, or it may be better fit, but it's really just to more objectively try to evaluate who is your best customer, really, in terms of what you offer right now, right? It can change. You can always grow and have, like, let's say, the big companies as the customers. But right now, when you are planning when you are starting, or the stage you are in right now, who is the best customer? Whose needs do you best reflect? And again, with all the depth behind it, based on what is exactly what they are going through, how they buy, and what is it that you offer. So who is the best customer and their profile? The third element, clear, is based on the big pain that you figure out, the best customer that you defined. So what's the best combination of the whatever functionalities, value that you can put in the product, right? So then you define ideally the product, and that's why I also numbered them, like this is the ideal case. But of course, the digital marketing strategy can be done anytime, but this is kind of like the ideal case, how you go forward the fastest. Yeah. So so in Sana Search example, if we have a look again on these three areas, hello. So we can have a look. So we know what the big pain is, right? So this is where we were, right? So we are using this example, B2B example of Sana Search, the startup. We know that the big pain for therapists is online visibility to customers. And we know that the big pain for the customers, for the patients, is to find the right therapist fast, and a trustworthy, credible therapist that I'm seeking right now in my area. So that's the big pain. Best customer for Sana Search. Now, if we again talk about therapists, who can it be? Is it any therapist? Is it maybe more the new therapists who are really new and, let's say, have really no clients? Am I attractive especially to these ones? So when we are starting the startup, it's good to go the niche. You may have heard it many times, like the going niche is really important, and it is, especially at the start, because you basically become an expert in that niche. Let's say it's starting therapists that we target with the platform, and you really become good at what the needs are of starting therapists or starting therapists in Zurich area, right? That's kind of like I would say an example of an ideal niche, right? Like even from location perspective, if it's relevant to your product, location limit, and the customer limit, so it's therapist or starting therapist, and you can have even more criteria. So this is really because you go super fast when you start with niche rather than everyone everywhere in Europe doesn't lead anywhere. And the last piece was, so we had these two, and the product. So what's the product for Sana Search? So that's the platform, online platform, the marketplace. They connect these two parties together so that the patient finds the right therapist in Switzerland. So they are focusing on Switzerland right now. I will pause here again. Any comment to this? Any question? And I would actually like if any of you could comment, question. Dimitri, what do you think? Do you have any, do you already have any direct experience with going through this process? Or
the answer is no. The answer is no.
Okay, so not yet. Okay, so it's new. All right. Or anybody, so who has gone already through this process a bit? How about Maya? How about you? Or if you can speak, I mean, you said
yes,
that you...
Yes, I can. Sorry for the, now it's a train in the background.
No worries.
Yeah, I do. I mean, that is more or less also the whole lean startup approach and, product development approach anyways. So, but I have to admit that I still am not always, we have kind of few different best customers on both B2B and B2C sides. So, and exactly in these weeks, we are going through those persona templates, right? Because we realize we need to understand them even better and describe them even better.
Yeah, and maybe just for the context for others, Maya, can we just, so because you have actually, right? So you have an online, is it kind of like an online marketplace as well?
Yes, actually, yes, but it's, yeah, I mean, it's actually B2B2C as this Sana Search,
Sana
right?
Search.
Because for Sana Search, the business is like therapeutes, right? And customers are clients, right? The people who need those therapeutes. So in our case, it's companies and job seekers.
Yeah. Okay.
So for example, for best customer, we can have a startup as a customer on the B2B side, but we can also have a large company, and we can't really choose that much because we are still on early stage and creating traction. And then for the talents, we have actually parents as a main target group who want to work part-time, because we are focused on part-time positions and job sharing positions. But then we also might have students as well. So we need to describe all those customers.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing. And again,
yeah, you're welcome. I hope that makes sense for your question.
Thank you very much. So again, I'll just summarize. So, okay, so Maya was just saying, like, right, they have also kind of like an online marketplace. It's a sharing tribe, and it has a very, I think, helpful mission and context that they wanna, or correct me, Maya, then, to give job opportunities that are really kind of flexible or part-time for people, because the market doesn't reflect it still so well. And so they have the job seekers on one side and the companies on the other side. And this is one of the things, right? What I was saying, like when Maya is now at the early stage, right? So going niche, how much niche you want to go so that you go fast. Because again, if the customer sees like, okay, so this is for parents, so it's super relevant to me because I am a parent, and also maybe your initial functionalities or the messaging and what you do, the value you give, it will be 100%, I mean, or a lot relevant to me because you target mainly parents, or I'm one of your big target groups that you target now, rather than if you say any job seekers who want flexible work, right? Which is it's everyone. Everyone wants flexible work, right? I mean, who doesn't? I mean, in this day, and especially after COVID. So I think every one of us knows these 3 areas, but going really maybe deep into this, and I was just saying, thank you for sharing for an example. Don't take it, it's not for you. It's really just using as an example, just really going deep into that, because we all know these areas, but really going into that and finding the right spots and niches that we address at the beginning. And the 4th one, clear one, is messaging. But again, I mean, the most common mistakes are still in these 4 critical blocks, right? These are still critical blocks, not only for marketing strategy, for digital as well, right? Because it's still a strategy. If we don't get these right, the digital marketing is not effective. Messaging, really, are we speaking the language of the customer? And I mean, these areas may look straightforward, right? We can follow the checklist, but it's actually not easy, right? And I'm really saying it also based on the experience, right? We all know it. We do our best, but it really needs some fine tuning sometimes so that it really clicks with the customers. And then what's next? So after we really define the core business elements, which were on the previous slide, only then we go to channels, right? So sometimes what happens is that we are really drawn to the channels already, like we don't even know yet what we properly offer, and we are already on the channels and trying this and that. And I mean, it's not bad, because it's still also a way of researching, right? If you go to LinkedIn, social media networks, online, I mean, there's a ton of useful information to find what best product we can serve. So it's great for research, actually, to go to channels, but to actively start really posting and communicating from the company perspective, I think it's really crucial that we first define these. To some extent, nobody's asking for perfection. It will change anyway in time, but to have some solid ground there, or we ask it as a research tool, right? So what often early stage companies can do is that on LinkedIn, whatever, and digital channel, you can actually ask, right, actively for the feedback, and many do that, right? That you are asking for the say for the potential customer, which is of course great. And so here are 3 elements, right? That we prioritize certain channels. Now I'm already talking about the official channels that you want to use to communicate on. So it's not 3 social media, it's not LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube at the same time. It's 1 when we are starting, or 2 that we are experimenting which one is really the best if we are not sure. So the common mistake is that we start shooting in many digital channels at the same time, and it just doesn't work. Because especially if I now go into the social media landscape, which is a good example, because we have these social media manager tools, right? Where you just push one button and the same post goes across the social media. It just doesn't work. It's actually offending to the customer to see that the post that you made doesn't fit the platform, right? So Facebook is really more like personal, family, even B2B clearly, but it needs to have the right way of communication, whereas LinkedIn is different. I mean, currently they have an overlap in that personal touch, but still it's different. People go to LinkedIn with different goals, different expectations, which are professional. Whereas Facebook is where I want to see pictures from my friends and family, and also to connect. Actually, Mike is also on B2B, but it's a special setting where I want to see this. So this is definitely, that would be my high recommendation when starting or even just growing. Definitely don't get swamped that you can be present in many channels at the same time with one tool. It doesn't work. YouTube, totally different to Facebook, LinkedIn. It's video, like only video. And so this is the priority piece. And then the understand channel. So this is where you want to leave the channel. You want to leave LinkedIn. So it means First, you invest your time. I mean, clearly you can read from LinkedIn experts how to use LinkedIn, etc., but you need to live it. You need to go there, post or comment, like, and this can be the more intense phase at the beginning, but it's needed so that you then get out of it more for your company. And the last one, strategy, to have even strategy for the channel, like what is the business goal linked to this channel in my marketing strategy. And again, doesn't need to be complicated. So for example, in SanaSearch example, they have a Facebook page or Facebook presence that is targeting patients primarily, but also therapists, but more important is the patients, where they see the therapist and what SanaSearch does. And on LinkedIn, they more target the therapists, right, to join, etc. I mean, their social media presence is not exemplary. I'm just saying also how it could be the best. And so that's how different channels you can target the different type of customers or stakeholders, right? Because you will know that Facebook is more for this, LinkedIn more for that, Instagram more for this. But let's go on. We are not going deeper right now. We can leave it also for questions. And the next one, customer experience. So this is really important, and SanaSearch is doing this really great. So let me show you. I hope you see the website. And okay, so we have here some. Okay, good. So, and what they are doing really great. So I'll go to the home page. You see as a customer, right? I will again translate it to English. Simple, right? You have a visual of a therapist doing massage for you, and here some main messaging, right? These are probably the most common symptoms customers are right now going to SanaSearch. So they just put them big and clear here. Migraine, exhaustion, and here find and book health insurance approved therapists, right? So you see they are not early stage for sure. They already know their customers inside out, what they need, right? If I want to go to therapist, I want to have it reimbursed, ideally by my health insurance, right? So it's here. So only 2 sentences, but there is so much already hidden here. And here, just search. You know, I come here. I actually did book one therapist for myself through SanaSearch 1 year ago. And here, right? And they made it so much easier right now. So I didn't even type, and you see already the popular searches, right? Super great. Excellent for me as a customer. Location, again, I can write, right? So let's say I give like nutritional advice and I put Zurich, right? And I search. Excellent. I love it as a customer. Easy. And here I found some nutritionists in Zurich, and I can use filters. Where are the filters? Yeah, here. So I just have here the, I need to, so here, right? Here's the filter. I mean, it's German, but you can see that, right? I can choose again more specifically what area I'm looking for, symptoms, my gender, if it matters, what is the health insurance that I have, language I want to speak, and what is my target group? What am I? Am I 50 plus? Am I working? Am I adult? Am I child? Excellent. It's excellent job that they are doing here. And it's clear they have done a great job during those years, trying to understand the patient customer in this particular example. And so now, so we are talking about the customer experience. Okay. And so, yeah, so I think this is really excellent. Please go check it out after the webinar. I think it's really a lot to learn from them. And so the customer experience is really important because customers want everything easy, right? Simple, fast, and without any hassle, right? And you need to have somebody, if I cannot figure out, I need to have a way how to reach you for my problem. If I cannot reach you, it means like now, not in 2 days that you email me, like I'm going to another provider. I'm not going to wait until 2 days later somebody comes to me, because usually I have the problem now. I need a nutritionist now. And so the last piece would be learn. And I didn't call it measure. I call it learn. But the measure part is in it, right? So the advantage of digital channels that you can measure them. The traditional channels like, TV, radio, billboards, print, you cannot measure it. But sometimes, right? I mean, when you are a bigger company, or even in a startup, you want to see, but like, what's the result of the measurement of the campaigns? What are the results? And sometimes, right, the companies come back to the traditional ones because that's what they are used to. But actually, you have no metrics or KPIs that they say that they are actually successful. Whereas in digital, you can have that, and it's a great advantage because it helps us learn what the customers want and how we can better optimize our experience for them. So that's why testing, right? We always need to test. Even if our digital marketing strategy is set, we always need to test. Why? Because our situation with our business is always unique. No matter if there are alternative solutions that are similar, it's always unique to us. So with Facebook, ads, whatever, there always needs to be a testing. Any expert on Facebook, etc., will tell you the same. We need to test a bit, but they do tell you the best practices. We measure and we evaluate, right? So that's the learning part. We measure so that we can learn from it. Do we use this channel still, or we drop it? Do we do more of this, or we drop it? Do our customers want to hear more of this, or we drop it? And so this is really important part. I would pause here. So please, again, can you comment? Can you ask any questions here?
I have a question. How did Sana Search find the first clients? Because on a two-sided platform, you need first some therapists, but on the other hand, probably no therapist would join the platform if there are no customers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So who do you think joined first? Who do you think they worked on attracting first?
Obviously the therapists, but the question is, what was the incentive for them to get them on the platform?
Well, I mean, if you don't have a visibility to clients and you can join for free, so usually, you are starting, I think it was for free, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, when you are starting, you don't charge them because you don't have customers there, right? The potential patients, you have no audience there. So usually, we are just using it as an example, right? I mean, I haven't been working with Sana Search on this. So we are just discussing the best case scenario for this kind of startup. So definitely, if you don't have online presence, you don't risk anything if you join this platform, right? As a therapist for free. So I think it was very easy to get therapists on this platform. And then the hard work is to get the patients, the customers, right? The buyers there. Because first I want to see value that the therapists that are here are good. So that's where the work starts. Tell me more, Dimitri, if tell me more if there was to your question.
Yes, it was a question. I think in this case, therapists do not have they don't have much effort to get to the platform. In my case, the people who would go to the platform, they need to produce some content. It means that they would need to make some investment in order to build up the presence. Even though there is a platform, they need to walk an extra steps to get to the presence.
Yeah, so they need to, but let me show you. So if we look at the therapists, here, Catherine Fisher. Okay. So clearly at the beginning, you know, like, I mean, it's what I think, right? I mean, you see here the information about Catherine, and clearly she has to put the pictures here. She has to put all this information here, right? Like my website, what I do, description, my education, my languages. So I think this is maybe the same, or correct me if I misunderstood, but every therapist needs to fill in this page in their best way, so that clearly once the customer clicks on their profile, that they want to work with them, right? Book a session.
For example, let's say, did the company help them with copywriting? If there is some,
so let's go there. Okay, let's go there. Yeah, it's a very good question what you're asking, and let's go there, because now they are not that early stage anymore. So you will see what amazing services they have for their therapists. Okay, so I'll translate this page. Okay, so here you see these advantages. Okay, this is the premium membership that they have for therapists. And now what they do, right? They do this unique symptoms search. I mean, this is for the kind of a buyer perspective, right? The patient, that they are able to better find the right method for their symptoms. But this also helps the therapists, right? Because they can better find them, right? If they are really specialists, then Sana Search provides this kind of a specialized search. So they have an advanced search, it's not that basic. Second, optimize online presence. So what the Sana Search helps with, that, you know, they help them really structure their information, right? Like their offer, availability. I mean, it's a pretty basic thing, but you know, it definitely helps. Third is that they have increased visibility through Suica. So this is a health insurance company it's a big health insurance company in Switzerland, as I understand. And so they have connection to some health insurance companies. That means it will be reimbursed for the patient. And that's a big advantage, right? Because the clients want to have it reimbursed. Then they have presence in some other online media, right? Like this magazine, etc. Then they offer online booking for the customers. I think they need to pay extra for this maybe, but it doesn't matter. But you see, Sana Search is adding all these service kind of like additional advantages and functionalities for the therapist, so that it's easier and easier for them to be visible. They also have this software, right, for managing the invoices, client management. I think they pay for it, but maybe they have some discount. But it's here, right? The therapist doesn't need to search for something online. Sana Search is helping them. Again, Sana Secure Video, it's COVID. So therapists cannot always, you know, just see their patients in person. So they have to actually figure out and provide some software for the video. Right? I mean, it's incredible that they are really actively working on their therapist needs, right? And they are addressing it. So I will just stop here. So they are definitely supporting their online presence, not only like, here's the platform, write it, and they will come. I mean, I think they definitely had to learn it their way, right? Sana Search team, co-founders. Like, it's not enough. It's not enough. Like just to give the platform and find yourself, right? Not enough. We need to do more. Okay. Okay, so any more comments or questions here? Very good question. Thank you, Dimitri. Okay, let's go on. So we have still 15 minutes. I prepared a bit more slides. So maybe if you could also say what you want to focus on. So there are some B2B specifics that I had here covered because we have this session on B2B. Then there's something around the channels in general, like which to prioritize. And then something about social media. So please shout, do we go through the B2B specifics, channels, like how to choose the digital channel or social media? What do you want to see? Any preference?
Yeah, that would be cool if we have time for that.
For all these three, okay, and Emilia, channels. Okay, so let's start with the channels. Okay. So yeah, so let's start with the channels. And there is one more comment. And best LinkedIn best practices. Yeah, we can. Okay, let's go to LinkedIn then as well. Okay. Thanks for the question, Julius. All right. So first, digital channels. So there's millions of channels you can choose from. Now, clearly, website is a must, right? I think there's no discussion there because that's your channel, right? That's what you own, and that's where you ideally wanna linked in the critical activities, right, to your website. Like this is what you do. This is your reputation. These are your latest activities. Because as we know, all the social media, it's rented ground. They can change anytime their policies and suddenly you are non-existing, or they ban you, right? Like on Facebook, YouTube, happened to some big influencers as well, that you basically break their code, you didn't even know that, and you are non-existent on the channel, and you need to build your audience from scratch. So website, there is no question about that. But clearly, if we keep it simple, to the point, with the main things like these are my services, this is my mission, this is what we are doing lately, this is my reputation through testimonials, good enough to start with that or grow that. SEO, so there are some easy ways to make your SEO yourself if you don't feel like you want to invest heavily in SEO. And I don't think SEO is for everybody, but we get confused by all kind of messages online. So I think there's a lot of confusion about the SEO. If you are a small business, for example, I mean, clearly you can always be just an SEO business where you pull your traffic from SEO, but in general, you do some basics with SEO, like Google My Business Profile, which is for free. And then a few basics, that's what I did. And I mean, I have a great visibility. Like I come up, my generic company name, Marketing Waters, nothing specific, but I'm able to really come out top on the search. If somebody hears about me and they type it in Google, what many people do, if I don't come up on the first page, they think I'm non-existent, right? But I'm the first one, and it means my business is active, and they can find me very easily in my website as well. I'm not going into detail in SEO, but you can tell me, and we can go there. I mean, we have here an SEO agency, I think somebody, so they can definitely comment as well. I'm not sure who that was. But then email. Email, clearly always helpful. It's an easy tool. Automated email is a bit different story. When we are starting the business, for example, you don't need automation. We need deep understanding of the customer, and not always sometimes the automation is distracting rather than helping, especially at the start. So email definitely helpful, especially if we can personalize it, right? Like we don't send the same email to 1,000 or 100 or even 20 people, but if we can make it personalized, then it's a very good channel. Social media, very powerful currently. LinkedIn, excellent. Currently, it can always change, and it will change. But LinkedIn for B2B, especially for B2B services, for B2B startups, it's definitely the channel to be on. Maybe right now, because there was the question, right, from Julius on LinkedIn, just briefly. So it's value driven. So that basically people want to see that you are an expert. So if you talk about let's say your product or services, people want to see that the startup product or service, that you know what you talk about, not only in terms of product and the company, but really about the industry area or similar context, and that's how we pull people in through value. That's how I, for example, I mean, I have basically clients only based on that, and I love it because I don't need to shout always, here is my product, here is what I do, but people actually decide and they come to me if they need me. So definitely that's one of the main things for LinkedIn. And also the personalization or the kind of personal touch on LinkedIn works well. It's not for everybody, but if as a person you can do it, or in the startup team, that's definitely great. So it works well through personal profiles and company page as well, but especially personal profiles work very well. And there is a lot of organic visibility right now on LinkedIn.